Hello, everybody, and welcome to our weekly edition of the You Thought Sports Podcast. My name is Lucas, alongside the best hosts in the game, Bart, Wyatt, Aiden, and Jared. Before we get too deep into the show, let me remind you to subscribe on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on SoundCloud, and on Spotify. Today, we'll be talking about LeBron's 10th NBA Finals, the MLB playoffs, but we're going to get started in the SEC. So this past weekend, Mike Leach's Mississippi State knocked off the reigning champions, LSU. And I'm here to claim today that I believe Mississippi State is a dark horse contender to win the SEC this year. And I think I have a pretty compelling case. In their first game, KJ Costello, the quarterback from Mississippi State, set an SEC record for passing yards in a game with 623. And this was in Mike Leach's first game in that air raid offense. People like to talk about that SEC defense and how well it can hold up, but I don't know if they're necessarily built for what Mike Leach is bringing to the table. And I think it's pretty obvious that when the reigning national champions play against a team and then they lose and give up 623 yards of passing, that maybe they're not ready for it. I don't think they're by any means the favorite. I'm not going to go out and say that Mississippi State is going to win the SEC today, but I wouldn't be shocked. Their tough games are against Alabama, Georgia, and Auburn. Georgia and Auburn look, pretty mediocre in their opening games. And Alabama is the only one that really, I think, is a surefire loss for them. They could sneak in. Maybe Alabama drops the game here or there. And I can see Mississippi with that state, with that high-powered offense, beating Georgia, beating Auburn, getting that spot in the SEC West, and maybe winning the championship. Again, not saying it's likely, but I think it's possible. So they're a dark horse.
It's possible for theoretically anyone.
Arkansas, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say it's a strong possibility to the level where I'm willing to call them a dark horse. Plus, Mike Leach can recruit from a bigger talent pool at Mississippi State than he ever had at Texas Tech or at Wazoo. And think about it. He can look back on illustrious Mississippi State alums like Dak Prescott and be like, this is what you can become. So I think they have a pretty compelling case
I think
to win the SEC.
Yeah. I'm not convinced.
I'm not convinced.
Yeah, I feel like at this point it's unclear whether that game was due to Mississippi State being good or LSU being bad now that their entire team is gone. I mean, they had 15 players drafted last year, right? How do you
I was going to say LSU they were supposed to return 3 starters on defense this year, I think, and 2 of them weren't even playing, including Derek Stingley, the All-American cornerback. So of course, I mean, okay, maybe not of course, but it's not as surprising that Mississippi State was able to put up so many points and yards. That I think is the biggest knock against the superb week 4 performance from them.
I don't know, but I think LSU, they're considered an elite program. They can reload every year, or they should be able to reload every year. You don't see Alabama giving up 623 yards the year after they win a national championship. I feel like LSU should be considered sort of in that echelon of team.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, Alabama does give up a lot of yards when they played LSU last year, right? So, I mean, maybe it is saying that Mississippi State is I don't know, a favorite. I would say they're a contender in the sense that they're in the SEC, and then after that, they don't have a chance, to be honest. They have a brutal schedule. Anybody in the West is gonna just get absolutely pummeled. Texas A&M, Georgia, Auburn, and Bama. Those are super tough games. Texas A&M, they could be terrible, but they're.
I'm not convinced Texas A&M is a tough game. I'm gonna be honest.
He fumbled 3 times in their first game, so I mean. If they can get rid of the turnovers, we don't really know how good Texas A&M is yet. Georgia and Bama I'm pretty much already chalking up as losses though for them.
I don't think Georgia was that impressive this weekend.
Yeah, Georgia was down. There was a weird score at halftime in the Georgia game. It was 7-5.
Right, but they had almost 100 yards of penalties in the first half apparently. So and they put up 22 points in the third quarter. I think it's a coronavirus year, guys. They were knocking off the rust. They were knocking off the rust in the first half.
Yeah, but isn't it a good sign for Mississippi State that they don't seem to have any rust at this point? That they put up 623 passing yards? I'm just going to keep repeating that number over and over until I feel like it sticks to the level I want it to.
No, but maybe LSU just had too much rust. Sorry.
That's true as well.
I really just don't understand how KJ Costello in Mississippi State had enough time to put up 623 passing yards while throwing 2 picks, including a pick six. He gave away he gave away a fumble and almost another one that was ruled an incompletion on review. Like, he had time to put up all those points, and he definitely wasn't perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, coronavirus season, you can't expect him first game to be perfect. But I thought it was a weird, like, absurd high passing yards, and that he wasn't, like, just absolutely on his game the entire time.
Yeah. I just don't think Mike Leach coming into the SEC means the SEC is the Big 12 and that everybody's going to be giving up 40 points now. You know, I don't think that's going to work against Bama or even Auburn. I don't think it'll work against them.
We'll see. Before Auburn won this weekend, I was going to throw their name into the ring for teams that are consistently, I feel like, overrated as well.
What? No. Yeah. They consistently they beat Bama like every other year. They're
but then they lose 3 games, you know.
Because they have a tough schedule. Bama doesn't play anybody. That's why they're one loss undefeated, because they don't play anybody.
Well,
they've never
they play Auburn. So. Yeah.
5 of Bama's next 6 games are against ranked opponents, and Nick Saban apparently has never faced that daunting of a schedule where he's had to face 5 ranked opponents in 6 games. Apparently he's never went like 6 games without facing an FCS team or an unranked non-conference team, something like that.
I feel like that's probably
So they always get cupcakes. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I still think Auburn's overrated every year.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of went off on a tangent. Sorry, but yeah. My bet to win the SEC though is Florida.
Florida.
I'm saying it. They don't have to play Bama. The SEC East is weaker in general.
It is.
Their SEC West opponents are LSU and Texas A&M, basically. So, and LSU just gave up a bunch of points where we know Florida can score points this year. So, who knows? Their defense is not that great though. Florida's isn't. Lane Kiffin put up a pretty good show against him, so we'll see.
Yeah. And Lane Kiffin is the poor man's Mike Leach. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would probably still take Bama, but I think that's a fair take.
Yeah, like again, I don't think they're a favorite, but like I wouldn't be shocked if Mississippi State made a run this year.
I would be.
I would be very shocked. Yeah, if they win the SEC, I'll be very shocked.
Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is, Lucas. If you don't put money on it, then I don't know if you're even really buying it.
Or at least book it. Yeah.
Or at least book it. Exactly. Book something.
I love pressing people into book it. Yeah.
I'll book it. Mississippi State finishes at least 2nd in the SEC West this year.
Okay. That's fair. No, that's fair. They have to beat Bama, LSU, Auburn.
No.
They already beat LSU.
They don't need to beat Bama if they're going to finish 2nd, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Bama or Auburn, though.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And Texas A&M.